Welcome to the lecture 3 video. This is the part I could not complete in class. So this is lecture 3, page number 9 and page number 10. And as I already told you in an email, this is a extra point video, which means the points you get here is extra credit and that will be added to your final score. Okay, so there should be no confusion about that. It will be added to your final score, and the questions I posed would be really easy. Okay, so we were talking about difference of two squares formula. So there are two other formulas which is called the difference of two cubes formula. So again, how does that work? It works because FOIL, and it doesn't really matter at this stage. What matters is you need to memorize this. So probably these are the things that you should go into your flashcards. Okay, now so the formulas that you need to remember is for u squared, u cubed plus v cubed. That should be u plus v times u squared minus uv plus v squared. Now if someone wants to check whether this is correct, I would encourage you to file it and see whether you get the same thing. Okay, and the difference of two cubes is factored as u minus v, u squared plus uv plus v squared. Again, you can check this for yourself. And by the way, because I have time, I will actually do the second one and show you it works. So let's do the filing. So, but remember, what's important is you memorizing these formulas. Okay, so let's do the filing. Okay, so along the red lines, that would be u cubed plus u squared v plus v squared u. And along the green lines, minus vu squared minus uv squared minus v cubed. And you can easily see that things cancel off. This cancels off with this, and this cancels off with this, so you end up with u cubed minus v cubed. So my formula is correct. Okay, so again, remember what you need to memorize is the formula. Okay, and once you memorize the formula, you can, when you see some terms, you should be able to factor this using the formula. Now, for example, here you have x cubed minus 8. Okay, now you look at this formula and look at the expression, and you can see that it's a binomial expression, and one of the terms is clearly a cubed term, which suggests you to think of using the two cubes formulas. And here I would use this. Okay, and it is not exactly clear at this stage what would your v be. So how do you find that? You would rewrite this. So x cubed minus 2 cubed. Okay, the formula we use is the difference of two cubes, that is u cubed minus v cubed. And you can easily see that x is your u and 2 is your v. Okay, so once you do that, you can use the formula. So first bracket, you get u minus v. So u minus v is x minus 2. And in the second parenthesis, you can use anything here. It's not a notation. You get u squared, which is x squared, plus uv plus 2 times x plus v squared, which is 2 squared, which is 4. And that's how you factor it. And also you need to notice that this will never factor anymore. So this will never factor. Okay, so let me do one more, and you will see some more questions in lecture part 2. So let me do something else. Let's say 27 x cubed minus how about 125. Okay, again it is not, well, you can see that it's a cube term and you have a binomial, which means, let's do plus. Okay, which means it's a cube formulas, but it's not exactly clear which is your x and which is your y, v. But when you rewrite this, so this is the same as 3 cubed, and that's x cubed, and 125. Well, 5 might work. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. So yes, 5 cubed. So this is 5 cubed. So just rewrite it once more. 3x, the whole thing cubed, plus 5 cubed. Now you can see the formula you're using is u cubed plus v cubed. This is your u, and this is your v. Okay, and by applying the formula u cubed plus v cubed, you can write here, you can get 3x plus 5 times 3x squared minus 3x times 5 plus 5 squared. So all I did was applying the formula. Find your u and v and just apply the formula. And that would be 3x plus 5 times 9x squared minus 15x plus 25. And again, there's no more factors. Don't even think about factoring this. It doesn't factors. It never factors. Okay, so that's the final answer. Okay, so that is about sum and difference of two cubes. And if you have already watched lecture part 2, you will see that you will have seen more examples. Now there will be a really easy question on your screen. Please answer the question and proceed. Okay, so let's move on to factoring trinomials. Now, as you might have noticed, I skipped this in class and I went to factoring by grouping. So let us just revisit that. Okay, factoring by grouping. So remember what I did here. You group the terms, okay, and look at common factors of each of these terms. Now here you can see the common factor is y, and here you can see the common factor is 4. Now instead of 4, I would do negative 4 for a reason. Okay, right, and then I will just write this as common factors taken out. So I take out y, I get x minus 2. Okay, now let's see what we get here. You have 4x plus 8. You take out a negative 4, and here you will have x, and from here you will have negative 2. So why does that work? As I described in class, when you times it, you get plus 8, which is good. Okay, so the reason I took this negative, because you will see when you write it down, minus 4 times x minus 2. Now you can clearly see that we have one more common factor. So how do you factor using common factors? You take it out. So you write it on the outside. Okay, and then write down what's remaining from the first term, that is y, and write down what's remaining from the second term, that is minus 4. And if you feel like you've been cheated, I would ask you to file this and see you get this back. Okay, now factoring by grouping is really important, because that is the technique that we will use when it comes to factoring a trinomial. Okay, so let us do one more example here. So I did this in class, but I did not do the one I'm going to do next in class. So how about this? I would do 2x squared minus 4x minus x plus 2. So here I'm trying to factor this. I'm not trying to combine this. I'll just factor it. Okay, so let's see how do I go about this. First of all, notice that you can group things. So the question is factor. Okay, so here I will factor the common factor 2x, and here I will factor, there is no common factor between these two, but I can say 1 is a common factor, or rather I will say -1 is a common factor. You can look at right here, that is the same idea I'm using here. So let's say factor is -1. Okay, so this is quite easy. You take out 2x. So from the first term, there's only 1x remaining. From the second term, you had -4x, you took out 2x, so you just have -2. Okay, what happens here? So let me just do it on this small box here. So you have -x plus 2. You take out a -1, okay, and then you have plus x minus 2, right? -1 times x is -x. -1 times -2 is plus 2. Works. Okay, so here what goes in is -1 x minus 2. And you can see x minus 2 is a common factor. Okay, and then that would be taken out, x minus 2, and then write what's remaining, 2x minus 1. That would be the correct factorial. So that is the technique that we will use to factor trinomials. Okay, so this will take a little while, but you can just answer the question you can see on the screen now. All right, now let's go to factoring a trinomial. So this is something that we did not do in class. So this is probably, if you're learning in this class, this is probably the first place you will see it. So what you do is, so in general situation, what you have is ax squared plus bx plus c. What you do is you will multiply these two numbers. So you will have ac, and then find all the factors. Well, when you get used to this, you will see easier ways emerging. But let's see, find all factors. Okay, so let's do that here. So I will multiply these two. That is 2 and 2. That's 4. So the factors of 4, different factors, not prime factors, just factors. Factors of 4 are, of course, 2 and 2. That is what we already got. And 1 and 4. Okay, and it's because it's plus 2, there are 2 more factors, -2 and -2. That is also plus 4 times when you multiply it. That's and also you get -1 and -4. When you multiply these numbers, you end up with 4. Okay. Now, you add them and see whether you get this number. See whether for what you get this number. So find all the factors of AC and add it up to get B. Now this is something you have to keep on practicing. Okay, so let's add it up. Okay, 4, 5, -4, -5. And what gives you -5 is this set of factors. So this doesn't work. The only one works is that. Okay. Okay. So you will now break this -5x to -1x minus -1x minus 4x. So that is really important step. So find all factors and add it up to get B. To split Bx 2 into 2 terms using step 1. Okay, so I will split -5x to -x and -4x. Okay, so I will write it here. So 2x squared is was already there. Instead of -5x, I'm going to write -4x minus x, and then the last term is okay. That is very crucial in factoring this. Okay, now you can see the common factor is 2x, and you can see the common factor here. There is no common factor, but I will take -1 as a common factor. In fact, this is exactly the previous question. Okay, so take out 2x, you get x minus 2, and take out -1, you get x minus 2. And then you can see that this is a common factor. Open the bracket and write 2x minus 1, and that's a factor. Okay, so let me do one more example here. I'm thinking of example, but okay, before that, just one more question. Just go ahead and do one more question that appears on the screen. Okay, so let's do one more question, and that would be 3x squared. Let's do a -8. And let's do -10x. See whether it works. Okay, so how do you split it? First of all, you will multiply these two numbers, and what do you get? 3 times -8 is -24. Now you should understand that in order to get -24 by multiplying, one of the factors should be negative. Okay, so let's think about factors of -24. Well, 1 times 24 is 24, but let's see that 1 should be negative. And then -2 times 12, -3 times 8, -4 times 6, and that's about it. Okay, and then you have the same thing but reverse. So 1 times negative 24, 2 times negative 12, 3 times negative 8, and 4 times negative 6. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pairs. Okay, and when you do enough questions, you should be able to exactly stop and find what exact numbers you're looking for. Right here, I need negative 10. So I get negative 10 by plus 2 and negative 12. None of the others give me negative 10. Okay, which means I will split negative 10x as negative 12x plus 2x. Okay, so let's write it down here. So you get 3x squared minus 12x plus 2x minus 8. Okay, and now you can see that there are these factors, there are these groups. You can factor by grouping. Here the common factor is 3x and you get x minus 4, and here the common factor is 2 and you get x minus 4. And then you can see that x minus 4 is a common factor, take it out, and then 3x plus 2. And that is how you factor. Okay. Okay, at this point, really I'm asking the last question because I have covered, there's just a simple part that I didn't cover, but I'm gonna, if you want to close this video, you can do so after answering the next question. But the video will continue. Okay, let's do that. All right, so the last thing I want to go is factoring the trinomial when you have x squared plus bx plus c. It's the same thing except you have 1 here. So you will multiply 1 times c instead of a times c. So that would be just c. So factor c, that, and find factors that add up to b. Okay, and in this case only, so if you have a different type, if this is not 1, there are no shortcuts. You have to factor AC and then find all those factors, find what adds up to B, and then split. Okay, if you don't split, you get the wrong answer. Okay, now AB equals C and A plus B is equal to B. Okay, it's once you do that, it should be really simple. Now let us look at this. Factor negative 30. Well, there's a lot of factors. 1 times 30, negative 1 times 30, negative 2 times 15, negative 3 times 10, that's about it. And of course 1 times negative 30, 2 times negative 15, and 3 times negative 10. Now see what factor gives you negative 7, and of course it's this factor, it gives you negative 7. And at this point you cannot do it for the previous questions, but at this point you can actually do x, and plus 3 and minus 10, and that's it. So for this question, when this is 1, there is a little shortcut that you don't have to split in the middle. Okay, let's see what happens when you split in the middle. You still get the correct answer. Okay, so what you do is you would do x squared, you split it in the middle, so plus 3x minus 7x minus 30. I would rather write it as x squared, hold on, minus 10x minus 30. Okay, and now you can see the first one has factors x. The common factor for this is x, and common factor for this is, let's say, negative 10. So take out x, you get x plus 3, and you take out negative 10, you get x plus 3. So x plus 3 is a common factor. You end up with x plus 3 times x minus 10, and that's it. So either way you get the correct answer. But remember, you cannot use this. Use this for ax squared plus bx plus c type if a is not 1. This is a very common error that I always see in students' transcript, that they have used this in different type of questions and got it wrong. Okay guys, so again, sorry about not completing the lecture, and I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you understand this. So have a look at lecture part 2. Thank you.